Your mind operates by the same laws that spin galaxies into existence. That sounds like poetry, but the ancient Hermeticists meant it as a precise technical statement. Every pattern you discover inside your own consciousness maps directly onto the structure of the universe itself. By the end of this, you'll understand why mastering your inner world gives you a working blueprint for how all of reality functions. The phrase, "as above so below," comes from the Emerald Tablet, a text attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. Most people treat it as a mystical slogan, something to put on a wall or tattoo on a wrist, but the original teaching says something far more specific. The macrocosm and the microcosm mirror each other perfectly. The patterns governing the smallest unit of reality repeat at every scale, all the way up to the infinite. And the smallest unit of reality you have direct access to is your own mind. Think about what that actually means for a moment. You don't need a telescope to study cosmic law. You don't need a particle accelerator. You have a laboratory running 24 hours a day, generating data you can observe in real time. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every assumption you hold is governed by principles that operate identically at the scale of stars and civilizations and quantum fields. The Kybalion, one of the core Hermetic texts, lays out 7 principles that govern all planes of existence, and each one of them can be tested and verified inside your own experience before you ever look outward. Start with the principle of mentalism. The Kybalion states that the universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. Your personal experience confirms this every single day. The reality you inhabit is shaped entirely by the mental state you occupy. 2 people walk through the same city on the same afternoon. One sees threat and scarcity everywhere. The other sees beauty and possibility. Same streets, same weather. The difference lives entirely in the mind doing the perceiving. You've lived both of those days. You know the external circumstances barely shifted between them. What shifted was something internal, something prior to perception itself. Now scale that up. If your individual mind constructs your individual reality through the quality of its attention and assumption, then the universal mind constructs universal reality through the same mechanism. The law doesn't change because the scale changes. That's the whole point of the teaching. A single cell in your body follows the same biological principles as the entire organism. A single mind follows the same metaphysical principles as the entire cosmos. The principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above, tells you this mirroring is bidirectional. You can study the cosmos to understand yourself, yes, but you can also study yourself to understand the cosmos. And the second direction is far more practical. Because you have immediate, intimate access to your own consciousness, you can watch a thought form. You can observe how an assumption crystallizes into an expectation, how that expectation filters your perception, how that filtered perception generates experiences that confirm the original assumption. You're watching creation in miniature. The same feedback loop operates at every level of existence. Consider the principle of vibration. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. At the highest level, the vibration is so rapid it appears motionless, like a spinning wheel that seems still. At the lowest level, matter appears solid and fixed. Your emotional states work identically. When you're in a state of joy or love or deep creative flow, your consciousness vibrates at a frequency where things move quickly, synchronicities appear, and reality feels fluid and responsive. When you're stuck in resentment or fear, everything congeals. Time drags, opportunities seem to vanish, the world looks solid and immovable. You didn't change locations, you changed frequency. The Hermeticists understood that learning to deliberately shift your internal vibration was the same skill as learning to influence the fabric of reality. Because they're the same fabric, your inner state and outer experience are 2 ends of one spectrum, connected by correspondence. So why does this matter practically? Because most people spend their entire lives trying to rearrange external conditions without ever examining the internal laws producing those conditions. It's like trying to change a reflection by reaching into the mirror. You already know the reflection doesn't originate in the glass. It originates at the source. Your mind is the source. The world you see is the reflection. The principle of cause and effect reveals this with brutal clarity. Every effect in your life traces back to a cause in consciousness. The Kybalion teaches that nothing happens by chance, that chance is simply a name for unrecognized law, When something appears in your experience that seems random or unfair, the Hermetic perspective invites you to look inward. What assumption produced this? What mental state preceded it? What belief, held so long it became invisible, generated the conditions you're now experiencing? This is where the inner work gets demanding, because the teaching doesn't let you off the hook. If the laws governing your mind are the same laws governing reality, then your mental discipline directly determines your experience. Every unexamined belief is an unexamined cause producing effects you'll call fate or bad luck. Every habitual emotion is a vibration you're broadcasting into a universe that responds in kind. Neville Goddard, drawing directly from this Hermetic lineage, put it this way: assumption hardens into fact. The state you assume, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the inner conviction of already being what you desire, operates by the same law that governs all manifestation at every scale. You don't petition the universe, you align your inner state with the reality you intend to experience, and correspondence handles the rest. Above matches below. Inner matches outer. The law is impersonal and exact, but here's where most seekers stumble. They treat this intellectually. They understand the concept, nod along, maybe even explain it to others. And then they go right back to reacting to external conditions, as though those conditions are primary. The gap between knowing the law and living it is where transformation either happens or dies. Living it means catching yourself mid-reaction. It means noticing when you've slipped into a state of worry and recognizing that worry is a creative act. You're using the same law, just pointed in a direction you don't want. It means sitting with the discomfort of holding an inner state that contradicts every piece of evidence your senses are offering you. Your bank account says one thing, your assumption says another. The Hermetic teaching tells you which one is cause and which one is effect. Trusting that distinction when the pressure is real, that's the actual practice. The principle of polarity offers a tool for this. Everything has its pair of opposites, and opposites are identical in nature, differing only in degree. Hot and cold are the same thing, temperature at different points on a single scale. Love and hate are the same spectrum. Fear and courage, poverty and wealth. This means you never have to create something from nothing. You only have to move along a scale that already exists within you. The vibration of lack and the vibration of abundance are the same vibration at different degrees. Your work is movement along that scale, not the invention of something new. Sit with that. You already contain every state you could ever want to experience. The full spectrum exists within your consciousness right now. Wealth is already in you as a potential frequency. Health is already in you. Love is already in you. The Hermetic teaching says you access these states by moving your awareness along the scale, through sustained imagination, through feeling, through the disciplined refusal to keep returning to the familiar end of the spectrum where you've been camped out for years. The principle of rhythm tells you this movement will encounter resistance. Everything flows in and out, tides rise and fall, moods swing. After a peak of inspired assumption, a trough will come. Doubt rolls in like weather. The untrained mind gets swept along with the rhythm, rising and falling helplessly. But the Hermeticists taught a practice they called the law of neutralization, rising above the pendulum swing so it passes beneath you rather than through you. In practical terms, this means maintaining your chosen state even when the rhythm of life pulls towards its opposite. The doubt comes, you feel it, and you let it swing beneath your feet instead of carrying you with it. This is advanced inner work. It requires the kind of patience that builds over months and years of practice. And it mirrors exactly how larger systems maintain stability, through self-regulation, through the capacity to absorb fluctuation without losing structural identity. Ecosystems do this. Galaxies do this. Your consciousness can learn to do this. Same law, different scale. When you really absorb this teaching, something shifts in how you relate to your own mind. It stops being a private, isolated thing rattling around inside your skull. It becomes a legitimate instrument of cosmic investigation. Every internal pattern you master teaches you something true about how reality operates at every level. Your discipline with your own thoughts is training in universal law. Your ability to hold an assumption against contradictory evidence is the same ability that holds worlds in place. Conviction sustained until form catches up. The ancient Hermeticists didn't separate spiritual practice from cosmological understanding. They were the same pursuit. Know yourself and you know the universe because you and the universe are expressions of one mind, operating by one set of laws at different scales of the same infinite spectrum. Your mind is the laboratory, your assumptions are the experiments, and every result you produce confirms what the Emerald Tablet declared thousands of years ago. What's above truly is like what's below. The question worth carrying with you tonight is simple. What experiment are you running right now? And is it the one you'd choose if you understood that the whole cosmos is watching your results and matching them faithfully at every scale?